Hey, welcome in. Ah, nice, got that bench power. Did I send you the Handtech one or the Owen one? I think I've got I sent quite a few out last week. Or was it this week? It was this Monday. I sent about 5 out this Monday after I mentioned on the stream I was giving them away. Something there. Hey, love the content. Thanks very much. Just going to be a short one today. I've just been Christmas shopping. But I just figured I'd just do a few game gears before I knock off. This has just come as well. Literally just unboxed it. Already chucked the packaging. I haven't plugged it in yet, but I figured the idea was this was... you've seen me with the infrared preheater before with the little soldering iron on. That was a bit big, so I brought what I thought was a smaller one. It's bigger than the other one. So the idea was going to be something where the Game Gear actually fit over and hung over the sides. Obviously, this is even bigger than the last one, so that idea was kind of pointless. So I've now got 2 of these, but I'll have a little play with this, see if I can find a good position for that. Handtech one, yeah, I think you're probably going to find the Handtech ones better. They're both quite good, but I stocked both of them when I sold them. The Handtech and the Owen. But yeah, you should make good use of that. Right, so what we've got in terms of things to fix. I did this morning on the sub-only stream. So we've found a nice way to reflow and fit these 1 ASIC chips. But unfortunately, this one seems like it's dead. Nothing at all happens. You don't even get to out of red light boot. So you get the clock, you get the sample pin, all the soldering is definitely good. And unless something's changed from me just leaving it this morning, this just doesn't even get into red light boot. So nothing at all. So it looks like that ASIC is dead. So we'll swap this ASIC out. And then I've got one other game gear I'll take a quick look at. What we're doing, we're basically trying to, well, I'm going to play with this a minute to probably remove and solder that. And then we've got another game gear to look at. Let me just grab the other one. And this one's a customer's one that Zach's just been working on. I don't think it was booting at all. And now I believe it boots, but we get some funky things on the screen. So we get this, which I can't recall seeing before. So there's something strange going on with... I just think that's probably a pin soldered to the wrong place, to be honest. I think that might be because the customer, I think, has torn some pads on the ASIC down here where you solder H-Sync and V-Sync. So I've got a feeling maybe these wires are tacked in the wrong place. And looking at them, I'm pretty sure they are. So that's probably the only issue left with this one. But we'll look at this one. Maybe do this one first, because this is probably simple. And then we'll have a play with this infrared and try and put an ASIC on that other board. And then that's it, really. Like I say, nice short stream. I don't want to be on too long. I've just been out all day. But I fancy doing a little bit of work first. So let's take a look at this. I can't quite get this back into the bracket. There we go. Flip this over. Let's take a look over here. So what happened, like I haven't seen this yet. This is literally one, like I said, it's just been worked on. But what I hear is apparently the customer has torn these pads down here where the H-Sync and V-Sync go. So zoom in nice and close. No. He hasn't torn the traces, he's soldered to the wrong ones though. So the customer's also soldered to the wrong place by the looks of it. So I know these are tiny pads. They work, but they're tiny. It's meant to go to, I can lift that out of the way because all the flux. It's meant to go to that via there. That's not been used yet, so we can use that. This one, to be honest, looks fine as well. So I don't think there's tears on there. They just soldered to the wrong place. And then these restoration wires, I'm 99% sure they're the wrong pads. They probably say H-Sync and V-Sync on the schematic, that's why. But I am pretty sure the H-Sync and V-Sync are down here. So let me just pull up my own wiki and take a look, because I can't remember everything off the top of my head, but I'm sure they're the wrong pins. Hey, welcome in. You recapped it, got an upgraded screen and power board. I would say if you're getting the Game Gear working first, it might be worth just waiting to make sure you can get it working. If you know it works, then yeah, I'd definitely get the audio. The audio is a massive improvement. But if you haven't got it working yet, maybe just wait until you've got the Game Gear working. Ordered a regulator a bit ago. What's your order number? I'll jump on and check for you. So getting to red light boot is where we have the pinouts for this. So let's scroll down and see. We are one ASIC. I'm sure. Oh no, not getting to red light boot. It's reading game cart. There we go. So yeah, so these are the wrong pins. I mean, in fairness, it does say H-Sync and V-Sync on the schematic, but it says NC, which means not connected. And the actual H-Sync and V-Sync, confusingly, are labelled CL2, which is clear line, I presume, clear line 2 for H-Sync, and DW, which normally stands for drawing the screen. So if we did want to be covered to those two pins, that would be there. But I guess if you make the same mistake and you ever repair the traces and you go to what says on the schematic H-Sync and V-Sync, you'd potentially get that issue. So this should be a nice simple case of just removing these two wires and fixing the solder pads on the other. Now, in fairness, this didn't boot at all, so it actually didn't work at all. The customer had not got a working Game Gear, but the ASIC's been reflowed and some of the work and it then worked, but obviously there's been remaining issues here. So that's the two wires off. Let me just turn on my new fancy extractor that I've now brought. I've got the super expensive Walla Zero Smog, so I don't breathe in all these fumes. Right, let me just quickly check on that order for you, see why it's not gone. R53163. Yeah, ordered 5 days ago. It's because the postage is crazy. So DHL want £45 to ship to your area. So you should have had an email. It looks like actually, now what we've done is because DHL want insane amounts of money to ship, it's like a remote surcharge on certain addresses, which means it costs more than the entire order. We've sent it Royal Mail. So your let me just follow the tracking. I won't give the tracking out on stream, but I can send you the tracking. I can email it you. Yeah, it's in transit. It is just leaving the UK. So I'll just email you this tracking now if you give me 2 seconds. But yeah, we have two options. One is normally to email customers and say, do you want to pay more money to cover? Like, we don't know the cost of DHL sometimes in certain areas until you pay and enter a postcode. Then it tells us it's a remote area. They call it a remote area surcharge. And some areas they just charge more for, basically. And the price is insane. It's like £45. So there's no way you'd want to pay that. So we've posted it Royal Mail, and that should be there within a few more days, hopefully. So let me just paste the tracking in. Get your email up. Copy that in. Right, you should get that email in a minute. If you don't, just let me know. I've fired that off to you now. Hoarding all the RAM. Right then, what was I doing? I took them two wires off. I was going to redo these pins. I was going to turn this on. So this is my nice fancy Weller fume extractor. But I don't have the remote turn on switch at the minute. That didn't get delivered. So I have to walk around and turn it on. So I'll just leave that running for now. Let's go over the top. And we want to zoom right in. And then we just want to repair. Well, this one isn't repair, this is just blobbing solder. I presume this one worked and they thought they damaged the trace on the V-Sync and they haven't, they've just soldered to the wrong place. So, if we go on this one, what you can do to solder on normally, and I don't think it's broken. But I mean, this tip is giant tip. I'll probably, just for this one, get me a little tiny pointy tip out that I rarely ever use or find the need for. Just so I can actually get right into that pad, because there is quite a bit around here. Blob solder on. There you go. So that one's fine. This one needs, what shall I use? I'll use my grinder, but I've got a crazy oversized tip on this grinder at the minute. I don't know why I put such a large one on. So this one might be, yeah, it's bigger than the hole. We'll just use a scalpel instead. It's way too big. And we'll just get into that trace there, or that via rather, to expose that via. And it looks tiny, but you can actually solder to it. Pretty simple. So that'll expose the via like that. And then with a bit of flux on, we should be able to just tin this straight up. We don't work on PS3s, unfortunately. We did so many of them, and they're always dying. The RSXs are dying, so we don't bother doing them. That's all we ended up doing when we used to do them. Fixing RSXs or doing all kinds of things around that, and the fixes never really last, so we just stopped working on them, basically. What are we fixing? We are fixing a couple of game gears. But this one hopefully should work. You can see that's now on that tiny via under there and soldered solid. That was the pad that the customer went to. I presume what was wrong. These look okay. That's on. T10's on. So I think we should be good. This should, I presume, work now. If there's no other issues. Now I think the vias on the ASIC, they look like they're going to be very difficult when they're not. They look a lot harder than they are. Basically, that's the idea with them. There we go. That's working. Yeah, that one's all stable. That one's easier. I'll chuck that back to Zach. That was Zach's to work on. I think. Yeah, that was his game. That can stay in. And now for playing with this extra infrared heater I've now got, because I brought one thinking it was smaller than the one I had, so I could fit the Game Gear over, and it turns out it's even larger. So what I was originally planning was to use these little stands. So let's move that out of the way a minute. The goal was going to be kind of get these big heavy stands, put the Game Gears in the middle of them like this. So I've had them in between these two stands. So it can be a bit easy, move this around, get the infrared heater under, but obviously AliExpress didn't really give sizes, so when it's come, it's literally just been delivered, bigger than the Game Gear. So my idea of kind of having pads either side has gone out the window, because it's a bit awkward working on this where, you know, this is got a sort of float on here. Like it's a bit in the way, but I guess that's what we're dealing with now. So I'm going to chuck another ASIC on, because this one just doesn't work at all. But I figured we might as well just play with the infrared heater and put a bit of infrared on at the same time, basically. Oh, God. Tired. Been up early doing a stream and then been shopping all day, so not exactly going to be a long stream today. Stick drift on PS5, same thing. We used to work on controllers. We cut back all the stuff that ended up being like rabbit holes of extra work, and to be honest, controllers are usually grimy from customers using them, or you replace a thumbstick and then they'll complain about a trigger that was never a problem and nothing to do with the repair. So they just ended up being nightmares to work on for the sake of £20. It just was not worth our time. So we don't work on any controllers now, basically due to that. We had to kind of streamline a lot of the stuff we were working on because we're busy enough as it is all the time. So we cut out anything that was sort of slow or non-profitable like a year ago now. And we're still flat out with everything else. Good amount of my first Game Boy Color, drop in screen, clean amp, clean power. Nice, yeah, you should go nice and easy. If you have any issues, just jump on Discord or just catch me when I'm on lives, basically. So this thing is on, turn on, heat, I guess, up. Yeah, simple enough. Let's set this to 200. And then I guess we just wait for that to get up to temp, which hopefully won't take long. We're just going to sit here until it does. So I guess do that until the temperature gets up. And then we'll put this board on. I've got a random ASIC here as well. Like, not pre-rehearsed or anything, just sitting on my desk by my solder. So I don't know whether at some point, I don't know if it's worth using this one, because this might well be a dead one that I suspect is dead and I've left off. I don't really want to put this back on and then it'd be a problem again. So I'll probably leave this one because I'm not really sure whether this is working or not. I'll grab a completely different game gear that we'll put on. How long have we been doing debugging electronics? Well, I've done hardware like for probably 15 years on and off. I did it a bit ago, 15 years ago, doing Xbox controllers. Then I kind of went back into software for 5-6 years without doing any hardware. Then I did hardware again for a couple of years, got a bit more into it, and then when I started retro, like 7 years ago now, betas, I've done it like most days now, like full time. So been doing it quite a bit. PS4, I don't think we work on them again with like the newer stuff. Yeah, we ended, to be honest, most PlayStations are awful, so we don't do PS3, PS4. The only thing we do on PS5 is HDMI ports. They're just awful to work on. PS1s are ace. PS2 slims are good. PS2 fats, the ribbons break all the time. So yeah, PlayStations, unfortunately, are one of the ones we don't really touch much. Yeah, the landscape. To be honest, the landscape mode is the least popular. So obviously I stream in both, and mainly I did that because all my audience was on TikTok. So I had to get vertical working. That was a ton of work to get working and have angles that actually work correct as well. So we have a really good vertical and landscape kind of setup that works great for both. Like, you can see everything in both, but now we tend to get most other people. Well, actually, to be honest, I don't know whether we do. We get a lot of people now on the horizontal compared to what we did, but there's still a huge portion of people that are on. Oh, this sounds funky. Probably the first warm-up. Oh, I know why. I think that metal cage has expanded, and it's touching this. It's making a lovely sizzling noise now. Yeah, that's literally... Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that. You probably can't with all the audio filtering, but making a lovely sizzling noise when it touches this. Right, that's nearly up to temp, so... what we're going to do... We're going to move this out. I think we're just going to plonk this board over, get it a bit of pre-warm, and then can I work on it like this? Is this, I guess, one thing, can I get this on the camera, or is this going to be too high up? I guess I can. Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, nice and close. Pull it in. Focus. Oh, I can't quite zoom in that much because the focus distance. So there is as far as we can go and still be focused. We'll get the extractor up on here, and I'll try and not melt my nice new extractor. So I've got that balancing on there like that. Should be far enough out of the way of heat to not melt this. Yeah, so that's the setup. Oh yeah, PS2 ribbons are crazy. You can just have a fully working PS2, come in for service, literally open it up and close it and it can break. The ribbons are just terrible on them. That's why we stopped working on the PS2 Fats. There was just too many warranty issues with them. And again, you'd send it in for one job and it had come back with an issue that's got nothing to do with it. It's just the fact that the general consoles are not good to work on and they're not in good conditions to begin with. I need another Game Gear, don't I? So I'm pre-warming this board. Kind of. Nah, I'll leave that on there. Let me try and quickly remove it. Actually, no, let's just remove another one. Alright, so let's take this one off a minute because we need to actually remove. Oh shit, let's remove the screen as well. This has got a clean screen on. This is. Oh, that's going to melt as well. I'll just get the plastic connector off. 1 second. I'm just about to chuck a random Game Gear on. And realise that camera's pointing miles away. This has got a clean screen already attached to it, you see, so I need to get rid of the plastic. Otherwise, we're going to melt plastic. You can go off. Screws on the floor somewhere. Right then, let's try again. We might as well preheat this one to remove the chip. I forgot we hadn't actually got a chip off yet that we want to use. And again, we don't really need this preheater, but considering I've brought it, I might as well use it today. Get the hot air. This as well, for those that were on obviously the sub-only live stream, you saw this new hot air I've got is crazy good. So this now runs at 330 degrees Celsius instead of 480. And pretty much the 330 seems to work for everything. I can pretty much do everything with it, even like thicker boards and stuff. So the 330 Celsius is pretty much good enough for everything. That's what we're going to remove this with. Oh yeah, Naomi's. I've worked on a few. I've got a few, but I don't work on the arcades so much now just because most people in that scene are dickheads, basically. So I used to do a lot on the arcades, but nobody's appreciative in the arcade scene. I give away all the knowledge on like the Megatech. More knowledge than anybody has got on the Megatech by far. The people in the forums loved it that were working on them, and then they just end up getting miserable because somebody that they don't know is working on them and knows more than them, quite frankly. So a lot of dickheads in the arcade scene, unfortunately, and I just stopped working on them. But I can help you with them if you have issues. I've reballed the Dreamcast chips that are on the Naomis and done a little bit of diagnostics on them. I've done more on the Megatechs, though. So this shouldn't take long considering it's preheated as well. Got the Dreamcast Clean Power. Yeah, glad you like it. That's actually now the third revision, I think, of that. And I've got a really good, stable one now. There's actually a minor revision coming in the next batch as well. Which, as that, I think I've just ordered it. I think we've like used the old ones and the new ones are due to come. They're just not here yet. That makes them run even cooler. So same design, same like exact same design. I've just tweaked a few components to make it run cooler. There we go. So that's that one off. Where am I going to place this? Maybe move him off now. Move him. Oh, I can't. I've got to get that one off first now as well. I'm going to have to place this chip down. What I'm going to do, spray some IPA on the melamine sponge, plonk him down just so the flux underneath doesn't stick the chip down. Now let's remove this one. And again, like I say, preheater not needed, just helps a little bit with keeping the working time quicker, so you don't do as much thermal stress on the chips. And notice on these, see how the Sega is, you can just about see Sega written in normal orientation. When you take it off the originals, they're actually sideways, so just make sure you put it back on straight. Oh, nice. First time catching me live. Yeah, I wasn't even going to come on. Like I said, I've been Christmas shopping today. But I just figured I'd quickly jump on and do these 2 Game Gears. So I won't be on long at all. But yeah, quick little Game Gear work. Most unexpected thing I've come across on chips. We had one recently. It's in a stream not that long ago. We had a SNES come in that was running like Mario crazy quick, but like genuinely on the original hardware, it was a fault in the CPU. And it made Mario like go crazy fast, but the rest of the game worked at normal speed. So pretty mad how it was working. So I've actually kept that chip because I said you can do genuine speed runs on original hardware, but the fact that the chip actually is faulty in a way that makes the character run faster. So would that be classed as like genuine for speed running? It's like original hardware, even though it's faulty. And has this got enough solder on? Yeah, them legs should have enough solder. So, oh, the one thing I said as well on this, on the sub-only live stream this morning, we need to bend these legs down slightly. I nearly forgot about that step, so move him out of the way a second. Move him up there. What we need to do, and this is because these chips don't really, that warm? That's fine. They don't sit flat enough, so these pins don't go far enough past the black to work right. So I'll place them on here, place them flush, and then bend up slightly to bend the legs down. So it just makes the legs stick past the black. And then this way they should still be in line and flat, as you can see. But we just bend the legs so that they, when they solder them down with hot air, they actually do protrude past the black casing. Otherwise, they don't make contact with the pins. Basically, that seems to be the main issue with the 1ASICs. It is making the pins actually contact the board. So I'll go around and bend all 4 sides down. And now you can see the black casing there, how the legs are now all sticking past the black casing. So probably zoom in a bit. So see how they're now sticking nice and clean. There's the black casing, and there's the pins, so that the pins are protruding nicely past the black case. So when we hot air this down now onto the board, these pins can all make good contact with the PCB. Otherwise, they don't. So that's a step I do now on every 1ASIC. So let's bring this back in. I've just dropped the chip. Great. No doubt bent a load of pins. Yeah, of course it does. Wicked. Oh, the worst thing that could have happened. Oh, yeah, it's bent like more pins than I even know what to do with. Well, this was perfectly ready to go on. And now I've got to fix the pins. I've dropped it on the floor right before putting it on. And you can see all these pins have bent randomly out of the way now. So this is the last thing I wanted to happen. Because now they're not perfectly aligned, and this is the main problem with this chip. The legs are tiny, and when they don't align, they don't solder well. Yeah, they're all over the place. I'm half tempted to just get another chip now than put this one on. Typical. Have a look. I might just give it a go. Let's see how well aligned they are. Well, I'll tell you what, let's see how well aligned they are on this. It's a telltale sign. Oh yeah, we're missing. The pins aren't even there on some of them, that far bent. It's because I rested it on the edge while I was moving this infrared heater into place. Just fully zoomed in now. Let's take a look. It's really hard to even see the pins as well. But these are all misaligned, you can see. So, well, you can just about see. This one starts going off. This one does. And this is where it's hit the corner. So they're now okay. This corner is miles off, but maybe that's just the whole chip needs nudging. And you've got to really get these pretty accurately aligned for these to go on right. Can't believe that happened. Yeah, they're either... Yeah, they're way off. All the legs are bent, nothing's lining up on that side. That's now a full pin out. Tell you what, let me just tack one of the pins on. I don't normally do soldering on it. I normally hot air the whole thing on now, but let me just tack that corner pin so I can maybe try and move this into position, see if we can get it anything like. But we're going to have to bend any pins in that aren't perfectly aligned before we hot air. And you know what? I don't think it's that bad. There's the Rusty icon. See, I wish I could get the little Rusty mascot to show up on the chat overlay, as opposed just in like YouTube, and that'll have a go with that. Yeah, I think we've recovered it there. That wasn't too bad. I'm not exactly happy because the pins might not be at the right height now, but I think that's good enough to attempt a reflow. So yeah, try not to drop the chips. It's the worst thing you can really do. Zoom him up. Get this on the preheater now again. Focus in. Zoom in as much as we can before it goes blurry, which I don't think it can focus that far. So there's as close as we can zoom in. So now the preheater's on. Get the extractor nice and close. Get some flux on. And I've gone back on the nozzle as well for those of you that saw me using this nozzle for a brief period, this kind of nozzle that is the same shape as the chip. I've gone back to just the normal nozzle because I can't see what I'm doing when I use that other chip and I can't align things. So that's why I've gone back to the old nozzle. Yeah, the Game Gear has a 50-60 Hertz mode. We've actually got a switch on it here, 50-60 Hertz. And that'll switch the frequency between. It's just a pin on the ASIC. It's on retro6.wiki under reading game carts in the Game Gear section. You can see the pin out for the CPU. And it's a pin on here called not NTSC, I believe it's called. Or it might be called PAL. It'll be called one or the other. You pull it high or low to change the frequency. And I think on the Game Gear itself, it's defaulted to like being sent to ground or to 5 volts. Just have to cut that trace and pull it up with a resistor or pull it low, basically. The main thing you'll notice the difference in is sonic. But like I say, if the ASIC's already pulling it high or low, you need to physically either lift the pin in the air and then tie it to one of the rails, or you need to cut the traces on the board where it's already pulling it high or low. Yeah, same thing with the lifting these and bending pins 100%. I do it on the one ASIC. That's why I brought this. Literally the reason I brought it. The two ASICs, the pins are big enough and I don't really bend them. But one ASIC, definitely. This is literally why I brought that sucker, so that you don't have to bend the pins at all when you're lifting it. Yeah, I bet there is. I won't have the nozzle for the Xbox ones unless I can check in a minute after this. I've got some RAM chips in a box. It might well be the same size as the VDP, 14mm by 20mm. But if not, we can check AliExpress. But to be honest, I'd just recommend doing this technique anyway, going around. I wouldn't really. I wouldn't recommend the nozzles just because you can't see what you're doing. You know, it's like it worked great when I showed it off, but I like to be able to see the pins reflowing and be able to nudge and push down and stuff like that. And you kind of lose all that. It's a bit more difficult to do that. So that looks like it's now all reflowing even. So I'm going to try to push down. Go around a little bit more. And there we go. And to be honest, I don't notice, from this morning doing this, I don't really notice any difference using that infrared heater versus not. Obviously, the board is nice and warm, so things would happen easier. But I've given them a try. I don't think they're needed, these infrared heaters. Yeah, I think just the classic technique of just using a hot air station is perfectly fine. But we've given them a go. I've even brought two of them for some reason. So that's that. We can take this off the infrared heater, and I'm just gonna. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I've just brought it, but I'm not got much use for it. I don't think that's needed. Perfectly fine without it. That made no difference to how hard that job was or how easy it was. I guess if you guys want an infrared heater, I can't see me needing or using this. I've just paid I think I only paid about £100. That might be even less. But if you guys are after one, I could sell that one for pretty much what I brought it for. Otherwise, there's almost no point in selling it because it didn't cost that much and I could keep it for the sake of keeping it. But if anybody genuinely wants one of these, I've got two of them now. I've got one with a hot air station and I've got this one just on its own. Like they're good. They do what they do. They preheat the board. I don't think I need it. It doesn't really fall into my workflow of what I need. The hot air does perfectly fine for me. So now let's clean the flux off this and see how well we've done that job. Seeing for a preheated board, this is cooled down pretty quick. The flux is already cooled down. So there's going to be usually a couple of shorts as well on the ASIC. You almost always get them on the one ASIC, but they're very easy to remove. Let's just take a look if we have any shorts. And like I say, I'm pretty sure we will. Yeah, the switch doesn't change the size of the picture at all. It's purely speed. I can show you if this works. I'll show you what the switch does so you can see. Yeah, we've got one little blob down there we need to fix. That little blob. A little bit of flux. Get the iron. Clean the tip so there's nothing in the well. And then we should be able to just touch on There we go. Get rid of that solder. Not quite as clean as my one this morning, but they all look soldered. This doesn't seem like it's melted. I think when you've got the extractor on as well, I think it sucks away quite a lot of heat from. Well, it can't do, can it? The iron. I know it sucks a lot of heat away from the hot air when you're working with a fume extractor. But why is this not coming off? This should be just dragging off immediately. I don't know. I think this tip as well. This tip is old. This is one I got out. Literally got this tip out, and it's like 7 years old. This is one of my old wallers. I should probably buy a new one of that tip because I think that doesn't feel like the heat's getting to that tip as much in the last day or so. Right, there's no shorts on them, so now what I need to do is go over it with the microscope, because no matter how well you do these, at least at the minute for me, you always end up with at least one pin that doesn't seem to solder down. Send me PS2 Slim to you. Yeah, that might get filmed, might not. We actually have five ready-made PS2s to make, PS2 Slims that were on probably tomorrow, so they might get filmed. Send-ins, we've got quite a few PS2 Slim send-ins as well, so we might have already done yours. But I'll try and film if I see another PS2 Slim pop up. See that one? Wobbly. So what I'm going to do for this is change to the little small tip. And this is just, I think, because, like I say, the legs on these, the one ASICs, they just don't seem to like to be soldered. Like, they just never seem to quite work. Let's go back in because I'm not sure. That one is loose. That one's loose. That one's loose. And this is just, I think, how these are going to be. Because they're such a fine pitch, and because I haven't used them and practiced enough on them, whether I just need more practice or whether this is just the shape of the legs on these chips, this might just be the case for a good while, that once you solder one of these down, you've got to spend that bit more time going through every single pin and checking them. This is awkward to get into the position for this one. Maybe just go down the side like this. There we go. He's on, but barely. I'm going to push him into position. He's on, but I don't like the look of him. Going to reflow him. This mat is sticky as well with flux, so it doesn't want to move down. And this is the wrong angle for me to be left-handed and twisting around on this side of the chip. This seems all okay. Apart from him. And him. So you can see how many of these still haven't soldered. It's definitely just these pins just never seem to be flat, and I don't know why. Just never seem to lay flat. He's still got a join. So that join we apparently cleared, you can see, is still in the middle of the pins there. Just dragged off. It's just like dirty flux. It looks like there's issues there, but there's not. That's just the flux in the way. Zoom up a bit. Don't need to be that close. There we go. So unfortunately, these one ASICs, even though there's only one chip to put on, they take the same time as the two ASICs because they're just more difficult to solder. So it's kind of, I thought these were going to be a nice and quick win compared to two ASICs, but to be honest, I can do two ASICs much quicker than a one ASIC, just because I might get quicker, but these chips just never seem to lay flat for me. All good. This little bit here that you see, these three pins are actually joined, so that's there. These two are actually joined on the circuit, so if you see a bridge here, it's fine. And the same up here, these two are actually joined under on the PCB, but again, you don't see them there. But if you do, there's no problem with that. So all them are soldered on well. But I guess the question is, does this work? Good evening. Audio may be low quality, shouldn't be, should be super high quality. Like this should be really good quality audio. If it's not, let me know. But like, yeah, we've got some crazy good audio equipment and it should be working great. The narrower nozzles, I've got them. I think I've put them away. Not really good for like. There's no point in narrow nozzles on the large soldering guns. Instead, you want to get a micro hot air. This is completely different, and this is a cartridge system where the hot air travels through a cartridge properly in a fine jet, and these are a completely different beast. These are amazing, but yeah, small nozzles on large hot airs, not really much point in them, basically. To be honest, the RAM chips on the Xbox are quite difficult to solder. Same as this, really. Same as the one ASIC. I don't know whether it's the pitch on that RAM chip. It's very similar to these. And again, same kind of issue. The pins don't lay flat on the board. So I don't think it's necessarily the hot air or the equipment. Stabbed myself. That's the problem. The echo might be this, by the way. If I turn off the filter a minute, I've got a filter running. So let me just turn off the... This is all the processing. So this is raw audio now, and now you'll hear this thing running. So this is probably what you're hearing. I can turn the gain down as well, but let me leave the filters off, turn the gain down. So there's the gain. Well, gain even more down. Right, that's turned plenty down now, and all the filters are off. But I'm guessing you're hearing this extractor. So let me just turn the extractor off a minute. Because you're probably just hearing the fact that obviously I've got a loud extractor running that it's filtering out, and then obviously the fact that my voice will be mixed in with that when I talk. And now if I turn all the filters back on, this is the EQ, the gain, the compressor, all that lot. This is the audio. So this is how it would sound. There's nothing now in the room. It's nice and quiet. But yeah, you'd be hearing this fan noise, but you won't hear it when I don't talk because the filters cut out low noise. So you'll probably just, that is quite a loud fan in a sense. Like in terms of how loud my voice was, the fan was probably 50% of how loud I'm talking. So it's not a really loud fan. Like it's you can just work with it. But because you don't hear it when I'm quiet, it probably makes you think the audio isn't clean. But yeah, should be nice and clean. So yeah, that's what you were hearing. You were just hearing the fact that this was completely being isolated when I wasn't talking. Right. What am I doing now? Seeing if this works. Well, first, do we even get out of red light boot? Hopefully we do. Yeah, so this one's coming out of red light boot, which the other ASIC wasn't. So good sign. Out of red light boot. Let's just connect a game, I guess, and listen for audio. Let's just do it step by step. Let's get this audio plugged in. So we obviously can't see anything on screen at the minute, but let's see if we hear any game load. And I think this game takes a little while to make audio. But let's see. Yes, there we go. There we go. So screen in now. Yeah, that's a good advice. I don't know that advice was for the Xbox, but yeah, preheating the pads, tinning them, scrubbing them, all that good stuff is definitely worthwhile on the Xbox, keeping it as clean as possible before you solder down. Funnily enough as well, for the battery stuff on the Game Gear, now the clean screen is more efficient than the original screen, especially if you turn the brightness down a bit. And if you use a clean juice, which is our battery-powered version of the power board, so instead of using AAs, it has LiPo batteries. It'll last over 20 hours. Obviously, if you turn the brightness up, you'll reduce the playtime. But yeah, the old Game Gears were so bad on batteries because the original fluorescent tube in them is a mains voltage tube, and that was literally, I did all tests on it when I first reverse engineered the Game Gear. I did all power draw tests, and I think the Game Gear runs 70 milliamp without the backlight. Once you put the backlight tube in, it runs 400, something like that. So it's all similar to these, though. The power in these is all the backlight. So if you want to make your console last longer, just keep the brightness as low as possible, and you'll massively extend the battery life. No boot now. So clean screen isn't booting on this one. This is one of the things where, see the boot light here? If I plug in, of course it's working now. So if that boot light doesn't come on when you plug in, like there you go, boot light's not come on this time. That is because this debug port down here is not filtered at the minute. The next design will be. So when I plug USB in here, it's a very rough start and very unclean voltage. So for debug purposes, like for testing purposes, if you really want to be sure and you're getting problems, just solder on the power lead and use a clean juice to test it properly. But yeah, that's all working. Let me show you the difference with the 50-60 hertz. 50 hertz, 60 hertz. So hear the music. And then if you want to be really noticeable, we put Sonic in, which of course I don't have because we always lose Sonic. Let me nick Zach's again. Sonic's the most noticeable. And the clean screen V3 doesn't actually support 50 hertz. The clean screen V4 coming out in a few weeks will. So this screen will just fade if you put it to 50 hertz in a minute, but listen to the audio. That's us in the UK. And that's everywhere else in the world. So, sounds really slow. When you go between the two, it sounds crazy slow. But when you're used to this, you don't notice. And obviously, pretty much every Game Gear I've ever worked on is 60 hertz. That's why I didn't even notice the clean screen didn't support 50 hertz, because we've never even come across one. And then when I made the re-PCB, I realized you could switch the frequency. And that's what made me realize the clean screen didn't support it. So I added that into the V4 that's literally in mass production as we speak. So that will be out next anyway. So that's two of them fixed, which does mean, unfortunately, the ASIC I had on here is dead. So he can go in the bin. And we're keeping track of ASICs. You'll see here, we had a 10 ASIC streak where we'd done 10 in a row without a problem. And that one's killed the streak, unfortunately. But now we can start and put a 1. So now we've got one more. So we'll start the streak again now. So we're on a 1 streak at the minute. And I want to just keep an eye on how many, work versus don't. But your main problem with the 1A6, personally, I find, is the soldering. Like, most of the time, it's the soldering. You've seen there, we hot aired it on. We used a preheat station. We pushed down. We did everything we could to make sure that chip was soldered on good. And we still ended up with about 7 pins floating. And it like I say, it's not the technique I've got. Well, the technique will help, but I've got a lot of experience in this anyway. So it's not exactly just technique. It is that chip is very hard to get the pins to sit flat. Right, that one's axed. I'll just get that Xbox chip for you in a second to check if it's the same size as that connector. We'll put this on as well. I might as well finish this board off. I don't think we need it yet. I think we've done all the Game Gears. They're all piled up over there. Do we actually? Let's check this one. I don't even know if this one I've just taken off another board. This has actually come off the Game Gear. We've just nicked the ASIC off that we couldn't get working, and it's just been left on. So probably we'll find. I bet this clean screen works as well. Yeah, a little pressure down on the chip. Solder pad. Yeah, we did that on this one as well. It's exactly right. Pushing down on the chip really helps with if the pins are not quite flush. And I also bent them so the pins come down below the chip. I mean, what probably didn't help on that one is I dropped the chip on the floor. That really didn't help with the alignment thing. So maybe if I hadn't to drop that chip, we'd have had more success. But I think just the sheer amount of times, well, I've only done it 20 times probably now, but the amount of times I've soldered them and the pins are never on no matter how many times you try. I think you've just got to hot air them down and then go around them all and probe with the dental pick, find the loose pins and touch them up. I think that's just the process in general at the minute. That's kind of the process you have to follow. Maybe when I do more and I get better, I'll find just a sweet spot where I can do them, no problem. Let's just see if this clean screen that come off the other board works. Yes, there we go. So I've got myself another clean screen. So that's all fully working. Chuck this on and a connector. And then this is fully ready to go to, I don't know, whoever it's going to go to, the next sale. I think we've literally built all the Game Gears up that we had. We've done about 5 or 6 today. Well, I haven't, Zach has. I've done nothing. I've been buying clothes. Right, connector. Oh, I've turned the extractor off as well. I'm going to hold my breath for soldering these 6 pins. I'm not going to turn the extractor on for 6 pins. And then connector looks clean. Just put the extension port on now and we're done. Yeah, don't let me forget that checking that Xbox RAM in a second as well before we jump off. But yeah, nice quick stream today. Like I say, I don't want to be on long. I haven't seen Rusty all day, so I just want to quickly get these 2 out of the way. Otherwise, it's something I've got to do in the morning before cracking on with all the other work. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely no lead free. I am not touching that lead free again unless I really have to for some strange reason. But no, nearly ripped the clean screen. Forgetting he's dangling loose. Yeah, lead free is awful to work like. I think it's again just lack of skill on it. I've not used it really for a long while, and it's the techniques, temperatures, timings, all that good stuff with using the leaded stuff just doesn't cross over to lead free work. It's completely different timings and processes and things, and I'm not used to that at all. The last step is just solder these few pins on, clean up that really shit job there, because that was when I was holding my breath and moving my head out the way. Bit of hot air, melamine sponge, and we'll clean those pads up, and then we're done. There we go, nice and clean. What are we making? We are making, well, we've now made a Game Gear. So this is a brand new Game Gear, basically, a re-PCB it's called. We've transplanted the CPUs, if you will, off the original Game Gear. So here's the original. We've nicked the main CPU. We don't need anything on that board now. I can go in the bin. We've put it onto our new one. And this is our fully working new Game Gear, basically. With also a new screen. So this is a modern IPS screen that I've made as well. So that one's now fully ready to go to the next customer, basically. The next one that purchases, which we might have already sold. I haven't really checked, but go in there for now. That's a spare clean screen. Yeah, I'm done, funnily enough, as well. That was all I was doing. Like I say, literally quick stream to fix them too. And now I'm going to go and chill with Rusty. He hasn't seen me all day when we've been out. So probably one of the shortest streams I've done. But like I say, I just wanted to get them two bits out of my way. And they both ended up being quite simple. Like, we fixed them both quite quickly. So that's it. I'm basically done myself. And I will probably... I'll see tomorrow. I've got lots of software to do. Got to do some software vids. And I've got... an Amiga 500 I've got to work through. So I'll either maybe stream the Amiga 500 in the morning, make some progress on that. If not, I'll just crack through work on it, do some software, and then you'll probably see me the day after. So thanks everybody for joining in. I know it was a very short one, but hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to catch more streams as well, we do sub-only streams, which are obviously for subscribers only, so you have to be a member on YouTube or a sub on Twitch. And then I stream on Tuesdays and Wednesdays as well for subs. And we go over learning how to do this stuff as well in a bit more detail. And you get a permanent discount on the website for 10% the entire time you're a member as well. I think what I'll do as well, the next revision of this re-PCB, I'm going to shorten the length of them pads. So I think what will help is, let me unplug that microscope now. Squeeze that running. I'm going to make these pads closer in because they seem like they don't need to be that far out like the original. And if I can, I don't know if I can on these, but I'm going to make them slightly wider so that they hold a bit more solder. So we've already got quite a fine pitch. But even if it's like 0.05 mil, make these a little bit wider, a little bit shorter, and bring them in a bit. That might help as well with the amount of solder that ends up landing on the pad and balling over. Short of that, there's not much you can do. This is the pitch of the pins, so you kind of can't do much more than that, but at least I'll do that. That might help as well. Oh yeah, RAM chip before I go. OG. Okay. So what do we reckon? It's looking good, isn't it? I think. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. So same size as the VDP, exactly. So you want a 14 by 20 mil nozzle, basically. But you might need to get the quick K8 or a nozzle that supports this kind of screw-on style to use them. I think there are actually there is a nozzle. Somebody sent me a link to these nozzles for the quick. Let me get it you 1 second. Which one have you got, by the way? Which have you got one with this kind of screw-on nozzle, or have you got the quick 682 or whatever it is? I've got a link to both. I'll just find the link now. That's the part number to the quick 8621, whatever it is. And then oh yeah, to be honest, if you want to buy my old one, then you'll need that one I've just sent you. So that's the link to the only place I can find it is on Quick's website itself, but that'll fit the one if you want to buy my other one. I'm quite happy keep the new one so you can buy the other one now. If you do happen to want the new one I've got, this new Quick K8, let me just get you the link to that one as well. Man, I buy some stuff. How long ago did I buy it? That link. I think this has, it's a bunch of nozzles, but this link has the nozzles in it, basically. So that's them too. But yeah, that'll fit perfect quite clearly. So you can use that. So yeah, thanks guys for joining in, and I will catch you maybe tomorrow. Yeah, no.